You're the roundtable chairman, Dale, whatever you would like. You want to start with Erica to give her
Sure.
update of what's going on?
Erica, it's all yours.
Okay, I mean, I'm sure by now everybody's seen the information from council, and Drew, feel free to jump in if there's anything you want to add. But I mean, at this point, everything is canceled as far as district events and council events through April 18th. And now that coincides with, you know, school closures and all that kind of stuff too. But I mean, our standpoint at this point is, you know, we're up until that point, we're evaluating it. Everything is changing, as you all know, every day with this thing. So just keep an eye out for more announcements, and what we're trying to keep everybody as updated as we can. At this point, Mark said this morning, you know, we're still going ahead with summer camp until the Department of Health tells us that we can't. So we're still taking payments for summer camp. We're extending, you know, taking those payments and stuff so that, you know, people have more time to get those in. And if for some reason we're not able to go ahead with summer camp, when we get that word, we are gonna, you know, there will be 100%, you know, refunds at that point if we get to that, which we hope that we don't. For district events, we'll try to keep doing things like this, or district meetings, and we'll try to keep doing things like this. And then, you know, we're just encouraging units to continue scouting, find a way to, you know, do those things with your units. Get creative and think outside the box. There's lots of things popping up all over the place. Actually, just before we just hopped on, there was someone shared in the Twin Rivers public forum, shared from another council. Someone put together a 30-day challenge for each level at the Cub Scout level. So there's a 30-day challenge for lions, tigers, wolves, bears, and webelos. I shared that on our district Facebook page, and I'm going to email it out to all of the leaders of our packs. So just, I know at the scout level, it's kind of hard when you can't get the boys together, or it should be harder, but think outside the box and go online. I mean, look through Facebook pages, just do a general search of, you know, Scouts BSA activities, and I'm sure things will pop up. And there's lots of different resources for having virtual meetings. There's Zoom, there's freeconferencecall.com that, you know, you as leaders can utilize to get that community, more of a community feeling and more of a scout meeting vibe than not doing anything or not keeping in touch or even email. But we do want to make sure that even in the virtual world that you are following the 2 Deep Leadership Youth Protection Guidelines. So never have a one-on-one with a scout. You know, everybody knows that, and that includes on the phone, text message, email. Make sure that you include a parent or include another scout leader on any communications that you're having with scouts online. Anybody have any questions or anything right now? Anybody have any ideas of things that your unit might be doing?
I would just say I saw something on Facebook earlier that one council was doing or asking for information. They wanted to do virtual merit badges. I didn't quite read the whole thing, but they asked what merit badges would you be interested in if you were able to do them online. So I checked a couple just to see what it's like, and they said they would, once they get the poll finished, they'll let us know what's going on. I know Ira Martin also mentioned that from Greenfield. He was looking to get to do something like that. We're going to be talking about it.
Hi, this is Paula Schmidt from Troop 24. We are trying to organize a Court of Honor to be conducted over Zoom on March 29th. So we'll see how that works.
Interesting. That sounds good.
I saw Ron Tremper put in the chat, their unit tasked all scouts to work on 2 merit badges while they're off. and the scouts seem interested in doing that. So that's a good idea. Give them a goal, give them something to work towards, and have them report back. There was another thing put out by the council today, shared on the Turning Point Facebook. Challenge every scout to cook a meal for their family. So it's the cooking merit badge, or the Webelos pin is the cast iron chef. And then there was lots of other activities, shared on there as well. So it's just kind of getting creative with them and, see what we can get going and keep that scouting. We don't want to lose that, lose these couple of months or the month so far that we're, shut down kind of.
I thought it was interesting in Cuomo's, this is Paula again from 24, Governor Cuomo in his conference call today specifically mentioned people going stir crazy and that the state parks are open and, go to a park. So I think my feeling is that everyone should stay home for at least a week and make sure that everybody is healthy. And then if small groups wanted to get together with at least 2 deep leadership to do a hike, maybe by next weekend we could consider doing that.
I agree with you on that. Just give it some time to see what's happening and then, go from there. I agree with you, Paula.
I also agree with the fact that getting outside is probably healthier than staying cooped up. So after a couple of weeks, to make sure you're healthy, get some fresh air. Anybody else have anything for Erica? Well, Frank, let's go to you.
Okay. Camp season, we're still working on everything. Nothing's been put on hold. Remind the troops that their $100 per scout fee is due. We've got a lot of them coming in, but I've got a list that Steven sent me yesterday that I've been working on to the units that haven't sent them in yet. It's very important that we get those in. Of course, I think the biggest thing at Waukpamani is that we will have Spectrum Internet this year. Okay, and so that's going to be worked on to get the trench. We have to dig our trench, but get the trench. And they'll come and do the cable, so that's going to be a good thing. We did a lot in the fall, and there's more to do on the Cub side of the camp. Brian, Dean, myself, and some of the OA people on fall ordeal weekend went over to the Cub side and did a lot, cleaned out a lot behind the office. They did brush, we cut trees down. It's really gonna be nice, and I think that, I don't know if Nancy and Quinn are on, but I believe they're going to do the OA call out on the Cub side at their field, at the flag field this year. Let's see. We coming on with the thing. We're going to do the WAC news will be daily. The Waukpamani news. We'll have that out every day. We're adding some new merit badges with people. The new people coming in. There's a few more adults coming on board. One of my favorites is Tom Sears is going to come up and be the medical officer for the year, which I'm happy to have him join the staff. And that's about, I'm sorry to keep saying but I've got my notes here and I'm reading them as I'm going But anyway, we're doing everything is on track. Everything is good. I got the staff list. Stuck in touch with Steven. They talked to Mark a few times. I've been in contact with Erica. Everything is going good with camp, and I think everything is going up as best it can be with our district. We're in contact. We were talking about, Erica, if you want to elaborate a little bit about the assessment Tori is doing. If you want to talk a little bit on that, what you plan on getting together and doing?
Yeah, you talking the surveys or the video?
Both.
Okay, yeah, I meant to mention that and I forgot. So we were planning state of the council presentations, and obviously now with the meetings being canceled, those would be canceled as well. So what we're going to do is we are going to record what we would normally have said at our State of the Council and put it out there. We can probably do both, send it via email for everybody to watch, or put it up on Facebook. And then we just would ask that you let us know when you've watched it. Like on Facebook, you can just comment, your unit number, and then, or if you watch it via email, just email me back that you've watched it, so that I can see what units have seen it and gotten the information. And then for those that had one of those done at your unit last year, or have had one, we did get a few in this year so far, but it's basically to just let you know where we're at the council level and what's going on, and where we're putting our resources to help make the program better. So be on the lookout for that. I hope to get it recorded next week and get it out. And then the other thing that I'm going to be doing is unit health assessment, basically a Google Doc that I'll be asking the units leaders to complete and send back. So it's basically like what a commissioner would normally come and do a visit at your unit, and sending those out so we can kind of get some feedback and see if there's any assistance that you might need at your unit that we can help with. And that was actually something that the Mohawk district did, and we talked about it today at our field staff meeting, and it's a good idea. So I'm going to be creating those for our district and getting those out, and then we can I'll share the feedback and everything with our commissioners, and we can use that to kind of help us see where our units are at. This is a good time to assess our unit health, because we have not as many in-person meetings going on, or no in-person meetings going on right now. So anything else, Frank, on your?
No, I do know, that's all. I was just gonna say that they're almost gonna be like filling out they're gonna do a self detailed assessment. We can keep in track, make sure that we keep in touch with our units by phone, by email, keep talking to people and know what's going on, let them know that nothing's shut down. As Drew sent out something today about keep scouting on. That's what we want to. Don't lose contact with everybody and think that everybody's in a vacuum. We don't want them to think that we're in a vacuum. So we just keep the best we can with the technology that we have available. That's all I've got.
There was a question that I received about the scout, just in the chat, we're kind of talking, the office is still open. People are still down in the office, and the scout shop is also open as far as I know. There's been no changes with that. With the scout shop, their hours are different, obviously, than the office, and they operate separate from us as far as that's concerned. So, if you do have to make a trip down to the scout shop for something, maybe just call ahead and make sure that they're still open and nothing's changing with that at this point. And that way you don't make a trip for nothing, but, just give them a quick call to see if they're still open. But right now I haven't heard that there's any change with their hours. And if there is, then I'll definitely communicate that to everybody.
Thank you, Erica. If nobody has anything else for Frank or Erica, Tom, you're on.
Okay. Can everyone hear me?
This is Tom Sears.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Safety officer. I can hear you. I don't.
Yeah, you're fine, Tom. Go ahead.
Okay. Just from the health and safety standpoint, I just wanted to go over a few things. First of all, the coronavirus, and we're just going to be hopeful that it's better contained when summer camp rolls around so we can continue on with summer camp. I'd hate to miss out on this, and I'm sure everyone else will too. But just follow the ongoing recommendations about hand washing and covering your mouth and nose. If you have to cough or sneeze, avoid touching your face, any of the eyes, nose, mouth, and continue to follow the close contact precaution of the 6-foot recommendation. And hopefully, if we all are vigilant and do our part, this will help, better contain this crazy virus that we've got going. The other thing I wanted to mention, and this is probably the most important one, is the annual medical form. And so the medical form, just to go over a few things, it's best that when these medical forms are handed in to the leader at the unit level, that that unit leader reviews that with the parent, because there's some issues there that the parent needs to be involved in with that medical form. So it's important that everything filled out in there is legible. So if we need to contact a parent, we can legibly read the name and the contact phone number. Making sure that immunizations are up to date, especially the tetanus vaccine. And also on the first part of the form, Part A, there's something that talks about participation. We want to make sure that that's filled in properly. So there's a box there that says none, that there's no restrictions. It's important that that the parents sign off on that, saying that there is no restrictions for participation. That's going to be important when they go for their swim test. The other thing is medications, when they're listed. And it's important that the parent understands that when they're handing in the medications, when they're signing in the Sunday prior to camp, that all those medications remain in the original container. It's very important when we're administrating the medications that we're doing it exactly like the label says on that medication. So that's important that they're in the original containers. No separate Ziploc bags with the meds loosely put in there. We need to have clear understanding of how to administrate that medication. So the original container is very important. And also with going over with the parent about EpiPens and inhalers. Now, those two things the scouts are going to be able to have with them in case they run into an emergency situation. But it's very important that that they're aware that if that's ever used, the EpiPen, that the medical staff must be alerted as soon as possible, because there could be a situation that can occur, and we want to try to avoid any radical situations at all created by a bee sting or something like that. So, and a couple other things that have come to mind, and people have mentioned a couple of these things to me, and it's something that is overlooked, and then we're faced with a situation right at camp because people don't know how to handle a situation. One is on bedwetting. We don't come across that often, but every once in a while there is a situation with that. So it's important that, like when that med form's handed in at the unit level, that you can discuss with the parent, are there any unusual situations, such as homesickness or bedwetting? Now, it's very important how you handle that, because it's a very sensitive issue, especially with the scout that might be involved. So there is some information online on bedwetting that I think every unit leader should be aware of. And there is a site out there, and well, I don't have the exact site address, but it's you can look it up under 7 tips for bedwetting at summer camp. All right, and that's a very good article on things that you can do to head off a situation before a scout comes to camp where there could be some kind of embarrassment or something like that. So we just want to make sure that we're aware of that, And the other situation would be homesickness. Occasionally we run into that. So it's important that that we treat that with sensitivity also, and try to work with the scout. Some of the things that can be done ahead of time are, for a scout that does have that, is spending some practice time away from home, such as a long weekend with a friend at a friend's house or something like that. Visiting the camp ahead of time. So there's certain things that we can do that can make a scout feel a little bit more comfortable when it's going to be his first time away from home and separated from family. So also there's, I gave Frank a handout. I don't know if that's going to be available through this media or not. You know that handout I gave you, Frank?
Yes.
Is that going to be available to everyone that's on this call?
I was going to try to get some copies of it and put it, I was going to email, download it and then do an email to send everybody. And now that you're on the health forum, I got one other thing to make sure on the backside, number B2, the doctor has to sign for prescription medications, but the parent also has to sign. Last year, we had a problem with the parents not signing, and hopefully this year with the internet will be a lot better, but with people that were trying to fax in the information to us, and Julie had hooked up some kind of fax through the internet, and the only problem is it would time itself out before we could download the whole form, and it just wasn't pleasant. But on the B2, it says administration of the above medications approved for the youth by, and it says parent guardian signature. They must sign that thing in order for those kids to be administered that medication, along with C, where the doctor signs it, but the parents must sign B, the backside of B2.
Right.
That's all I've got. I just wanted, you know, you were going through that. I just wanted to remind the leaders that that's very important.
Right. And it's best that that is all gone over prior to summer camp. So when they're handing these med forms in, this is a good time to rehearse this, because we can go over these things and look at items that are going to be important. But if Frank is sending out that little handout, it's going to have the site for homesickness that you can go and where a leader can review some of that information. And then if there's a scout that is that might have that condition, they can go over it with the parent and talk a little bit more intelligently about the situation. The same for bedwetting. So, and I'll make sure that Frank has those two sites so that it's easy for the unit leader to call that up online and get that information. Other than that, that's all I got.
Thank you, Tom. Does anybody have any questions for Tom?
I do. This is Paula Schmid, Troop 24. I remember being confused about how to handle the non-prescription medicines at camp last year. I didn't realize those had to be handed into the medical office too.
Right.
So you just give a quick review of that?
Sure. All over-the-counter medications, that would be like the Claritins, the aspirin, the Advils, all that must be handed in also if they take that more on a regular kind of basis, especially the allergy meds, Zyrtec,
right.
Claritin, things like that. So, as a health officer, I would follow the instructions on the labeling that's on that container. So again, the original container, all meds have got to be in their original containers. Because
and do you have restrictions on how many pills should be submitted? Like if it's something you take once a day, just submit 6 pills or submit the whole bottle?
No, submit the whole bottle.
Okay.
It's got to be in an original container. I mean, it doesn't have to be full. I mean, it could be just enough to last them through camp, but yet it's in the original container.
Okay.
That way, when we administrate it, we're going exactly by that. And if there's any situation at all with a scout when they present at the health lodge that has to do with meds, we always would call the parent and try to clarify something before we administrate something. If there's any doubt at all, you don't administrate it. You call the parent and go over it with them and make sure it's being done properly, if any questions come up that way. Also, if there's any injuries or anything like that at camp, parents are always notified and always kept in the loop to keep them informed as to what's going on.
Right, and
Right, thank you.
also, Paula, on that B2, the same thing. It's there's a yes, no, that non-prescription medication administration is authorized with these exceptions, and they should be listed also, and the parent guardian signature should be on there.
Right.
Right. I knew about signing it. I just wasn't sure about the packaging. Because on one recent camp out, I was told that, a kid's medication, they sent the whole bottle and I was told, well, really this family should have just sent a bottle of 2 pills, one for Friday night bedtime, one for Saturday night bedtime, not the kid's whole supply. So I wasn't sure if should we send a bottle of 25 ibuprofen, or should we send a bottle of ibuprofen that has has everything removed, but maybe 5. So I didn't know if you were concerned about the quantity that got sent.
Yeah, I'm not concerned about the quantity as long as there's enough quantity to last them for the week. That's all. They don't have to send the entire bottle of, let's say, 100 capsules or something like that. You just want to send the amount that they're going to use for that week, but in the original container, because that has directions on it.
That's the most important part.
Yes.
Okay.
Does anybody else have anything for Tom? Drew, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, I think Erica summed up a lot of it pretty well. If anybody has any specific questions about the council's response or what our thoughts are, I'm really happy to answer any questions, but other than that, I'm good.
I do have, Dale, I just want to mention one more thing. I haven't gotten this out yet, but I will. We had the top sellers dinner put on by Trails End that was going to take place on April 14th. Some of you here may have gotten the emails and may have even signed up to go to that dinner. It was going to be at the Century House in Latham again on the 14th, but that has been, at this time it's been moved to May, I believe May 7th, but that could change again depending on what happens going forward. So we'll get that communication out, and if you have signed up for that and you're not able to make the May 7th date, let me know. And then again, if it changes again, I will let you know about that. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else with popcorn right now. I don't think so. There are some new things that will be going on with the Trails End app for this year. It's on a new platform, which is supposed to be faster, more intuitive. So we'll be sending out some communications and stuff on that so people can see what some of the changes are going to be for the next popcorn season. And I am in the process right now of securing show and sell dates for the Walmart the 2 in Queensbury, the 1 in Saratoga, and also the Lowe's in Queensbury and the Lowe's in Saratoga. And we're going to be doing a sign up genius this year for those. So I'll be creating those for each store. We'll have a different sign up genius, and hopefully that'll make it a little bit better. And also I will have a little bit more control so I can see who has signed up easier, and I'm not having to contact council to get that information because that's not always possible to get right away. So hopefully doing it this way this year will be a little bit easier for everybody. So yeah, just keep an eye out for that information. That'll slowly start to come out too.
Hey, Dale.
Yeah.
Real quick, it's Drew again. I just want to I will add something to this. 2 things that are coming up. Right now, our plan is, and when I use the word "our," it refers to the key 3, which is Mark, Ken Cloud as the president, myself as commissioner, and +1, Brian as the VP of program. We're the ones kind of meeting and we were the ones that kind of pulling the trigger on some of this stuff. Right now, our plan is we won't call anything past April 18th until that week of. With everything changing and everything going on, this thing, we don't want to be too far ahead of this. We don't want to be too far behind it, but we're going to make the decisions based on what the best recommendations are that week of, and we'll do it week to week like that and see where we are. So if everyone's going to, look to see what we're going to say next week, it's probably going to be very little. We're going to wait and see what the CDC recommends, the state, and we'll let everybody know in mid-April what the plan is for the next few weeks, next month. And then the other thing I would just reiterate is that we're getting lots of questions. Units continuing to do anything. There are a couple out there that we've heard of, we're talking with, but it's a conversation with the chartering organization and their guidance. And our recommendation is, as you've seen on the Facebook, is the digital modes, using that. When things pan down a little bit or based on recommendations, I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility for a patrol or a den to go for a hike out in the woods on a state park or something. But right now, that's kind of where we're at with that. Talk to your chartered organization. They should be the ones signing off on any activities that the units are doing. So I just wanted to mention those two things.
Drew, there's a question in the chat. Zoom is a paid license, right?
Yes, they do have a free version of it. I listed on the Facebook page of the council a whole bunch of avenues that you could use. Some do have free platforms, free options that units can take advantage of on a short term. Usually they do work out pretty well, the free ones. You can't do a lot of things. You can meet. You can get 50 people in the room, quote unquote, the room. But if you look at the council Facebook page, I think I posted it yesterday, there's a list about 6 to 8 options that you could probably get into to try and make it work.
Dave, I just did a quick search of like free video conferencing, and the first thing that came up, there's Google Hangouts. It's up to 10 participants. It says for an unlimited duration. If you have a Google account, you have access to Google Hangouts. Cisco WebEx meetings, up to 100 participants for an unlimited duration. Zoom.
Yeah, Zoom was one of the ones that Google Hangouts I listed there. The Cisco WebEx, Let's Go To Meeting, they're listed. They all have free platforms. There's a couple of them. So Facebook Live is an option if you needed to. Really get information out. But there's a few of them. Take a look at them and see if they work for your unit.
Thank you, Drew. Thank you, Erica. Does anybody else out there have anything they'd like to add? I have one thing. At the moment, our next meeting for Roundtable will be held unless something comes up between now and then, which Drew will let us know about. It's going to be about dehydrated food, some recipes. Also, the Trek program at Camp Waukpanami. If anybody has anything they'd like to add to that or whatnot, please let me know. If nobody else has anything to add, then we can bring this meeting to a close.
Just anybody that's staying on for the activities committee, everybody's welcome, but they're going to do a little discussion about the spring camporee. So anybody that wants to stay on is welcome. And I know Marie is there, Andy, and a few other ones. So we can talk about the thing, but anybody else that is not interested is welcome to leave.
Just if we do go forward next month, if we are able to meet in person, it's at the Trinity Church, right off exit 16. And it's the 21st right now, April 21st, if we're able to go forward at 7 p.m.
Hey, Drew, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
This is Dave Burgess. We have like 4 kids with approved Eagle Scouts. I sent an email to Erica about this, but we have like 4 kids with approved Eagle Scout projects, and none of them have like they're turning 18 like next month, but a couple of them in late summer. And if we can't work on Eagle projects, is there any talk amongst the upper group about maybe giving kids waivers if they already have approved Eagle projects for their 18th birthday?
I did put that message out to Mark and Steven to see if there'd been any talk about that at a higher level. That was just this afternoon though, so I haven't heard back, but Drew, I don't know if you have any insight on that.
There's been nothing sent down to us yet. I know there's a lot of things coming from national and whatnot. There's been nothing sent down to us yet. I know the questions come up because we have some female scouts, BSA, who are on a short timeline to achieve their goals. So that question's been raised already. So I see Linda just unmuted herself. So unless she has something to add to that, I know the information's coming. And once I have it and the council has it, we're going to push it out as fast as we can. And I hope to get that soon. But Linda, do you have anything to add?
Just that the National Committee are to address the possibility of extension in cases where there is a need because of 18th birthdays or meeting deadlines otherwise. Actually, I was told today that we probably would expect to be out within the week. That's not a promise, that's not a guarantee, but it certainly is at the very top of the discussions among the volunteers on the Scouts USA committee. Obviously, Scouts BSA committee.
Yeah, that's sort of what I've heard as well. So that everybody, in case Linda was kind of soft there, so in case you didn't quite hear, it's being discussed nationally. It was on a discussion with a call today that she had, and hopefully within next week we'll hear something definitively from them as to whether or not or under what circumstances there would be an extension. So, and that's what I've heard as well. So we're passing up the need for this information from them, and they're working on it. So hopefully we hear something soon, Dave.
Thanks, Drew.
I'd like to thank everybody for attending. This has certainly been, I think, probably a very good meeting for our first virtual meeting. Again, if nobody else has anything, then we'll move on from here to Activities Committee. Frank?